You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Aggressive Terran players,
It's
I always
bio,
think bio,
yeah.
but there's also like crazy strats with mech where you keep on pushing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when Maru like plays against an opponent that he thinks is slightly worse than him, or like even, you know, major worse than him, he will go for like super aggressive mech where he keeps on pushing. That can happen, you know?
Yeah. I also always wonder if people say he's an aggressive Terran because they want to be nice and say that he, they don't want to say he held out all ins all the time.
Yeah.
But we're going to see as we finally jump into the game on Blackpink, game number 1 in the bottom left for Bolivia. It is the red Zerg, Ali.
Ale, Ali.
Whichever.
I don't know. We'll decide. We'll decide during the broadcast. In the top right, as the blue Terran, he is Terran for Brazil. That's a good name.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I remember back when I was a kid, I used to build like a numerous number of accounts on Warcraft 3, and I had like human user, and undead user, and elf, night elf user, and orc user. It was like completely worthless. I thought at some point that I could sell it to somebody else, but I was just a kid and a little bit stupid on the side. So, you know.
It's wonderful. They sell someone a name. They really want that one.
Yeah. You want Terran user?
Yeah.
It's 15 euros.
Try again.
Contact me. Yeah, you had a team profile. Well, you had like a profile that you could write whatever you wanted on back in Warcraft 3. So I think I put in an email there. I was like, yeah, if you're interested in the account, you can buy it there. What a moron.
It's a little silly.
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree
little
with that.
silly.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we agree that it's Terran, aggressive bio. That's the way things would go. You don't quite know. I mean, I would say Ale, but you guys seem fairly convinced about the
Ale is good.
Ale.
Ale is good. I think Ale sounds Bolivian. You know, or
Right,
Spanish
exactly.
at least.
I just trusted
Ale.
you guys.
You
with
know,
your
Ale.
weird accents.
But ale, you know, ale like a
pint.
beer, like a
Pint
beer.
of ale.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see about Terran's opening. So that's not going to be a 2-1-1 from what we can see here. It's going to be the classic 1-1-1 with an early second gas. So we could expect a Banshee, we could expect even a Raven. But once again, we're talking about players that we haven't seen play before, neither of those two. So it's just like a matter of expecting stuff from those guys. What do they like the most? What kind of composition they like? L, not taking any chances, just building a couple of Zerglings. We'll try to see and gather a little bit of information. And a third base, like quite early, actually.
Yeah. Actually, before the Reaper's even going to get over there. So this is extra awkward. Not only does he get a third hatchery already down, so no fear of losing the drone to the Reaper, he also gets those lings pass through. Oh my god, he made 6 lings to get past the Reaper in this situation. Luckily, the command center is already done because it wasn't a pull first. But that's still, of course, the SCV dead. Maybe if he had waited even longer, the Hellions before too, and he can catch a mule. This could have been more annoying because it was never going to be really bad. They definitely could have been more annoying.
Yeah. Not that much damage dealt. Even the SCV escaped safely. And an early Roach Warren.
Yeah.
Cheeky L.
This is, I feel like he was going along the same ideas, maybe, or maybe it's macro, of like, you know, the early pull into early Roach Rush on 2 base, but obviously this is on 3. You don't bring the Reaper back, and the Hellions might be able to scout the natural, so it's not sneaky, and I don't know if it's really going to be worth being aggressive. Most Terrans are getting Banshees, even if it's after a Viking.
Yes. Terran is supposed to be an aggressive Terran player. There's not that many links, and actually they will suicide a little bit. Do we see like the Hellions dot into the natural? Is that possible?
The thing is that, the Roaches won't be out. Even if they are, they attack pretty slow. So Hellion run-bys can do very well. But it looks like Terran doesn't want to risk that. He might also just think that he is the better player. We don't know too much about how much these guys face each other. Or, well, actually, we do know that Terran had confidence, don't we? He said I was going to 4-0. So we know that much. And, you're going to just want to protect yourself and play a solid game as opposed to trying to dive deep. What if they had 40 Lings ready to go? It's not Banshees, by the way.
Yeah, it's Viking into Liberator. Interesting follow-up from our Terran player here. We'll try to clear out the space with some Overlord kills thanks to that Viking, and then transition into the Liberator play. Spores are already being built by LA. I think it's in the main and natural. Yes, main natural for now.
it's to be expected that Banshees would be in the way. They're awesome defensively. They are awesome offensively. It's a good guess. And Viking first is totally fine to go into Banshees. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a waste. We do also have mech. So I was going to talk about the two Cyclones. He saw Roaches. Maybe those were panicked, but they also can be aggressive if he thought there was going to be macro game with this. It's actually a lot of Roaches, so I don't think he's going to move out with them. But then he adds 2 factories, and we might have an aggressive mech player on our hands.
Yep, aggressive mech player. Maybe Liberator will siege super aggressively in the main, and no reaction from L. Losing 5 drones yet. I think the Liberator is dead now. Some Hellions will try to escape. 3 of them out of the 6 originally. Some damage done. Queen survived. Yeah, the Spore finished the job on the side of L. Okay, the Armory quite late. Only one of them for now. Just only one, only single upgrade. Viking is doing its job. 1 kill already. Gonna get the second one in a few seconds.
Yeah.
And Roach with speed to counter the mech strategy of Terran.
So I think he is waiting on the Armory to build Thors. Just getting a reactor on it might be the starport. Take another look. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go for a double Thor drop. So a little bit mistimed, but you do need the gas, so you can only get 1 Armory. I'm glad that he didn't take his 3rd CC, without caution, because the Roaches were plenty in number, but not enough to be a real all-in here. It kind of just poking up.
Yeah, it could have been scary if the wall wasn't finished up, if the CC was in the air, because as you said, number of Roaches, only 2 Cyclones that actually deal damage to them. Hellions are quite worthless against Roaches, as you know. 5 more Roaches in the production tab for L, who's now on 57 drones, not looking to push that number further away. Terran's still taking his sweet time to get his 3rd base going. The 2 Thors will finish up. He already has 2 Medivacs, so we should see that push towards the 3rd base, maybe gather up with everything. Like sometimes you see only the 2 Thors, but with the number of Hellions that he kept alive and those 2 Cyclones, maybe it's like a frontal attack in a way.
That's a good point. And those can do very well against a Zerg that wasn't like... they weren't insanely greedy, so now they're already ready for it anyways. And then, of course, against a Zerg who's not all-inning either and does have a weakness, perhaps. And that is kind of the case here. L wasn't super greedy in the beginning. He made Roaches very early after all. And now he's still not on even that strong of an economy. This is where a push could easily get the 4th base if it was underway. And Hellions combined could actually pack a punch, but I think it is better to just let them go for a run-by attempt.
Okay, the run-by has been defended. At the same time, those Thors just took out a couple of creep tumors on the south side, but nothing much more than that. A couple of Hydralisk in the production tab as well as the range upgrade, but those are still not here, just a couple of them, so those Thors might get some damage done. He will try to get the Queen. Cost him a little bit of damage. Let's look at this Medivac. Medivac could fall.
Whoa! Oh,
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, there's another Hydralisk.
Oh. He's gonna get it, yeah. Maybe without the focus fire, I would have gotten it. That was not good. That was very bizarre to see him land on top of those Roaches.
Yep, I don't think I agree with that move. Only getting a Queen for his troubles. Now a Roach front by will get a couple of SCVs. That's already 5 down, and as well as a tank and a couple of supply depots at the same time. L being super aggressive with his Roaches, but that side of the fight doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird scenario. You don't expect the Roaches to actually get in there and kill SCVs. You don't expect the Thor to die against what was mass Roach. But then for L's side, he saw what still wasn't that impressive of a mech army. It's still absolutely building its tank count. You're not going to have a lot of excess minerals to build a lot of stack defense. So his choices, I think, were to either just try and max out, which... He's still, again, reiterating, doesn't have a strong economy, only just now getting there, and still not with a 4th base. Or tech, which is what he does. Stops on a infestation pit, knows that there's not a 150, 200 supply, either one, coming soon.
Okay, 2-1 in terms of upgrades for L, just starting right now with the +2 missile upgrade and Carapace, so we're already halfway done. Gonna grab a 4th base, as Terran does the same with a 4CC in the middle, between his natural and 3rd base, so maybe a little bit greedy of a position. We'll see if it comes back to hurt him at some point if he gets pushed by L. And Hive right away, right after the infestation pit stops. So
Yeah.
We'll have to look. We'll have to figure out which kind of path he wants to go for. Probably the Vipers for starters, and maybe Broodlords, but we don't see any Spire yet.
No, not yet. Still actually working on the upgrades for the Hydras even. I think that Terran could have a decent push like right around there actually, as this 2-1 gets to get a little bit closer, as it would be pre-Hive tech. The Vipers would be getting their energy and you'd be able to set up your army and continue reinforcing. But it's also totally understandable when a Terran, when they get slapped on a 4th base, when they're waiting on double upgrades, to just wait and then build a Viking count up a little bit more at 3. It's not super impressive. And then kind of let the Zerg player come to them.
Okay, here comes the Spire. Still no Vipers. He will be able to build them in a couple of seconds, and I do think he needs them, because with that massive Roach Hydra army, he's got an opportunity to take some decent fights, but he will need those Blinding Clouds to complement the army, because you've got the DPS, you've got a little bit of tanking power, but you do need those tanks to not be firing at once, especially with the 2-2 upgrades finishing from the Terran side.
I mean, this might be him making a mistake if Terran was pushing. It might be him recognizing that he's just not going to. Force a C, 2 Sensor Towers. But waiting on the Vipers, getting fast Broodlords, he might have been able to buy enough time for that. I do think that he needs to start forcing this army to siege up. Terran really is starting his move out to scan the creep along the way. It's not really so good. Of course, there's no banelings on the field. It's more about having vision for those surrounds, and always taking care of it. It's a good idea.
You always need to know the positioning of your opponent's army, and that's what he knows right now with L. Just setting himself up on top of this ramp, but hitting some really massive tank shots in the face. All the Roaches almost just got obliterated by Terran. 196 supply against 171, and that quality of an army on the side of Terran looks super, super scary for Ale.
And Ale has such a direct, the composition, Roach Hydra is really just about getting that direct front. And he's so far only taking direct attacks. He's not getting any wraparounds. That you really need those Vipers in that case. But Terran's already splitting a little bit. Not the best.
Okay.
A couple of Blinding Clouds are good. That one was mysterious. It might be good enough for Ale if he had reinforcements, but
I think
not
he
much.
will clear out this fight, but he lost every single Viper, which is always a problem. And those last 2 tanks might be enough with the Vikings landing to get those last Hydralisk, and that's already looking like a really tough game for our Bolivian player. 13 drones just went down. And he's got a problem in just replenishing his army. Like he's just building nothing but roaches against 2-2 tanks. That's not going to go well.
Yeah, I think Terran's got this game. That was a nice fight for him on 4 bases again, doing his upgrades. But I kind of wish that Ale had positioned a little bit more. I think as a mech player, it is a little scary when you see the army moving around those sensor towers. Obviously, you catch them as soon as they want to move out, so you force the tank stage really early. There's a world where he does buy enough time for those Broodlords or for better positioning, because again, just running in through 1 choke is never going to work.
Oh yeah, and that's not working at all. The number of Vikings is off the roof, so every Overlord gets taken down, and with 115 supply, with better quality, better army, GG gets called, and Terran takes the first point for Brazil.
Yeah, not in too difficult of a fashion. I mean, the game went on for a while, but that is the typical mech timing, and then when he hit it well.
Oh yeah, no, perfect mech gameplay against an L that didn't have that much, opportunities to, make Terran deviate from his original plan. Like he was never able to get a drop going, or like the slightest amount of damage dealt his way. He did okay defending the Hellions, defending the Liberator. Actually, 5 kills at this moment of the game was actually a little bit too much, but. Yeah, we didn't see that much coming out from Hell. He was also one of the players that we didn't have a picture from, so now maybe Dark, that we can know a little bit better, could do the job. This was decent, I guess. Cost a little bit, but got a couple of tanks out of the deal, so... that might be the only thing that L could have has done in this game. Yeah,
it was the only thing that kind of looked okay, but then you consider just how much that was for him, since he never really played greedy. This is the opportunity he took to add on 10 more drones to look okay. But, some other Zergs that have already had 4 bases, 65 drones, and done a decent Roach counter, where he didn't kind of strongly go one way or the other. It was, Zerg players, they want a drone, then they want an army, then they want a tech, and he kind of like, it was a bit of meandering, which Terran took advantage of. Terran was able to calmly and mostly securely get up to the max and then pushed.
Yeah. Yeah, what a, like the dream of a mech Terran player. Just
yeah. And then,
I maxed out. I've got 4 base. I've got decent upgrades, lots of tanks. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
And then actually splitting up his tanks even a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the dream. So next player for Bolivia is going to be coming up.
It's either Dark or Dark Unnamed. That's the that's the 2 players they have. So
yeah,
will be a Dark in their nickname, that's for sure. And once again, don't really know anything about those guys. Let's see if they can do even better than their compatriots just before. Let's see. It's gonna be Dark.
Just Dark.
Just Dark.
Yeah.
Not the Korean one.
Yeah, of course. Not the Korean one. If you're, looking online, wondering who the heck that is, you're going to have a tough time finding him, because I'm not even... He doesn't have a Wikipedia, I know that much, but I don't even know if he had an Aligulac, and if he did, it's probably overshadowed by Korean Darks.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to click on the Korean Dark, because you might be surprised. It's not the same player, but once again, they are playing against, Terran, who's... not the most well-known player from Brazil. They still got Eric and Turkey Dano waiting up. So I'd still say it's looking fairly good for Brazil, but we might be surprised. Like, that's the thing. Like, we can talk about anything we want, but the thing is we don't know anything about this guy. So he could be super strong, like playing on a barcode and just coming out of his cave is like, hey guys, I'm actually super strong and I'm going to kill Brazil. Obviously, the odds are not in his favor, but we'll see.
They're not. But are they really so strongly in Terran's favor? This guy said that he could 4-0. He's very confident. Even Eric was backing up saying that the Brazil team thinks that they can, just, together, even without Kalazur. But that wasn't, like, the most amazing, mind-blowing mech game ever. It's not like he maxed out at 10 minutes and then pushed across the map. Like, no, it was kind of a little bit of back and forth. Maybe a couple of... there's no opportunity here or there. And the good news is, Bolivia kind of got some scouting with that in terms of how he might play. But mech might have just been a Blackpink thing. As we go into Backwater, it can also be a mech map, but I'm thinking more just... in general, the later game map, whether that's bio or mech.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I'd also go for like an opening with mech though. Like I'm always super scared on this map to play bio. Like there will literally be creep everywhere at like the 10-minute mark if you're not like doing all you can to avoid this by killing the queens early or getting the creep tumor out of the way. And playing bio on a map like this, super flat, lots of creep everywhere. Could be super scary for the Brazilian player, but we will announce his opponent first. For Bolivia, in the bottom right, in the red, sorry, it's Dark.
In the top left, as the blue Terran for Brazil, he is Terran.
So showed us a pretty solid game plan in terms of mech VZ. We'll see if he decides to go for the same thing once again. Goes for a gas first. Will increase the rate at which he will be able to produce those Hellions. Maybe some Banshees. That's a cute spray.
Oh, it is.
Decal.
I definitely didn't see it correctly the first time.
What do you think it was?
I'm not sure. I'm still not even 100% sure if I'm seeing it correctly. I thought it was like a wolf initially, like howling, and then I see a kid skating. So, it's like a Rorschach. Have we pronounce that?
Rorschach. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Even know.
Rorschach.
That's right.
I think in English that's how you guys say it.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't watch The Watchmen enough.
Watchmen's such a good movie. It's an amazing one. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah,
actually.
right?
Yeah, it's so good. One of my top 10 movies, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was good, but I do think it was really overhyped. I remember when it was
What?
I remember when it was released, like, everyone was like, this is amazing. This made me rethink life. It has an awesome,
There's
moral
a giant
or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
blue guy, and it doesn't look stupid.
I mean, that is a credit in their favor,
yes.
right? I mean, and it's not
I know.
the Justice League catastrophe, but...
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, to be honest. But yeah, no. But you need to read the comic if you can.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
It's even
I think I
better
read it
than
before.
the movie, actually.
My brother was like, "You should really read this," and I didn't really trust him. But then I read something else he suggested, "Why the Last Man," and that's actually really good.
Okay. Is that a comic as well?
Yeah, it's a comic, but
comic book.
I mean, a little more lighthearted than
Watchmen.
Than Watchmen, except for the fact that it's literally the last man on Earth.
Oh, super lighthearted.
But he's the last literal man, like, right? There's like woman, but
okay.
There you go.
That's lighthearted.
There,
I can see how good that is.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
All right. So Rorschach and comic books, but also TVZ between Brazil and Bolivia, and we're seeing the expected build order from Terran. Out of his gas first, grabbing the couple aliens, and then probably a Banshee. We'll see. Earlier we thought it would be the same. Actually, Doc's gonna lose a drone. That was just a weird place to have that drone if you're not planning on building that third hatchery.
Yeah.
He had the resources though.
It's going to be maybe an awkward timing. So the Reaper's going to be able to get out. That's the nice thing about Backwater is that it does have that Reaper hop-up spot. That's even like. Well, actually, it's two. I should clarify. There is one in the main as well, but the point is, like, you have a lot of options to get scouting. So even though Backwater could have that trick third, no drones at it, there's actually a pretty high chance. Terran in particular will scout it. First we get the Reapers, then we get the Banshee, and he is getting Banshees this time.
At least a cloaking field. We'll see if he decides to go for it. Anyways, Viking will be the first unit coming out of that starport, and once again, coming out from the Zerg from Bolivia, it's going to be a Roach Warren and an early lair.
Yeah, so last game I thought that Roach Warren was like suspiciously early just because a lot of Zergs don't want to commit to Roaches unless they're going to do something with them. If they want to defend, they get Queens and Lings.
Yeah.
But this one combined with the early lair, that's really where you start question marking. Backwater has been pretty famous, I feel, in both of these matchups, and maybe even ZVZ. So all three for Nidus Worms.
Play.
Yeah.
We'll see if that's what ends up happening on the side of Terran. Here are those two Cyclones that you mentioned game one. So I do think we should see Terran going for the exact same build. Like, if it's working, why fix it, If it ain't broke,
and
why fix it?
It's even more improved because he goes for the Banshee. So if this was going to be Nidus Vermilion because he's like, oh, he only had the Hellions and Cyclones, Liberator doesn't really count, he'd be wrong, and it is a Nidus Worm. So this might be disappointing. Of course, Banshees aren't the counter. I don't want to make it sound like that. You bring an Overseer, you have Queens, but I think they are more helpful than Liberators. Terran should know something is up, but the scan on the lair didn't actually see it finish, so that could have just started.
Exactly, and he goes for the third CC before the double factory. So it looks like could work for Dark. Like, he doesn't know yet, Terran doesn't know that's a Nidus. And he's got a couple of Banshees, only two Cyclones that will actually deal damage, but that Banshee might deal a lot of damage to the economy. Of course, he's got the lair, so he's got a potential Overseer, but I can't see it yet.
Oh,
okay, it's morphing now. And now the Hellions are actually running by, and he will kill all the drones. See a lot of Roaches on top of the ramp, and now something should click.
Did he actually see the Nidus one? The Banshee got pretty close to the high grounds, but no, I didn't. The drones almost pulled the Banshee to the high ground, which would have been pretty bad. But seeing that many Roaches, again, like, alarm bell should be ringing, and this is already a little bit delayed for Dark. He still hasn't set on the Nidus Worm. So that's like a big difference when the tanks could be out. But no, Terran's waiting for Thors again.
Yes, and that's a massive mistake. He needs those two tanks, and now I do believe he saw the Nidus network that's going to happen in the main. You need to repair as fast as he can, and he will start and walling off this area with triple eBay. Will it be in time? That's kind of cute on the side of Terran. The Queens will pop out, but no transfuse, and the Nidus has already been gone.
Yeah, maybe could have brought the Banshees back. The Cyclone is still doing a lot of damage. Even the Viking come in and land as the Banshees die, but no more Nidus Worm means really no more problems, and now the tanks will be out for the next one.
Oh, yeah. And that's already looking super grim. For our good friend Dark, no Roaches on the map right now. They have to come out of the Nidus Canal. 27 drones.
So the Roach Warren's going to die. It actually didn't have a creep on it anymore.
What?
Yeah, look at it.
What? Oh, okay.
I feel like that's never happened before.
Yeah, no, never.
Is that why he scanned it? I mean, if that is why Terran scanned it, because I thought it was kind of a weird scan.
It was weird.
One creep tumor. Like it's kind of genius.
You just kill 18 drones and now you want one creep tumor? That sounds weird, but yeah. It's working properly for him. That Roach Warren, if Dark doesn't pick up on it, might die. But now with 2 tanks, look at how good tanks are against Roaches these days.
Oh, so
amazing.
Good. Is the Nidus Worm just at the front?
Yeah, at the front.
Yeah, there it is.
It's been scouted. It's gonna help out with getting units across the map a little bit faster, but the problem is that the units Terran are building are, well, just too strong against Roaches. Massive Roach amounts. I'm not gonna do the trick. So he goes back to droning. I think one of the queens is actually going back to inject at the opposite side of the map, but Terran sits on 3 base. We're talking about backwater. It's not like he had to lift off the 3rd CC and has got pretty bad economy. No, he still has 6 extractor, so that's plenty to build that mech army.
Yeah. So this is such a common follow-up that, again, Terran should know the Spire is on the way. So, Dark knows he's mech. He's confirmed it from last game as well as this game. And his Nidus Ellen fails. Those 2 things combined means that the Mutas are the way back into the game. It's not going to be scouted. He didn't know where the Nidus Room even was put down, so I don't think he's going to have this awesome scan. This is kind of silly. It's getting a lot of drones.
It's actually going to get 4 drones because of the Queen that was blocking the last one.
Oh,
and now
the scout!
I think you just go for another one.
Oh,
is he going to lift off?
He's not supposed to get the scout.
Lol.
What's supposed to happen?
What the hell?
He's walking out.
This Viking is such a boss. Okay, it's going to die at some point, but that was a good life for this Viking. Getting 4 drones and getting the actual scout that will help him out next in this game. We'll get the upgrade for the transformation, the smart servos on mech for Terran, and yeah, he's got everything he needs. I mean, he already has Thors, he has tanks, he has +1 attack for his mech army. Everything is going well for Terran right there.
Yeah. Not so much about the Roach Warren as it is. There's just a significant lack of creep for Dark. There's the Nidus Swarm and then his hatcheries, and that is it. He talked a little bit about how mech doesn't care as much about the creep as Bio would, but it is still really good to just encompass the map, see those Hellion run-bys in the future, like late game stages a little bit faster, and just be able to set up those surrounds. So having no creep whatsoever, whenever Terran pushes, Dark might not know about it.
Okay. Terran always super aggressive with these Thors, dropping it in front of Roaches. Like, I actually don't mind, it's okay. And especially because that's most of his NTR. It's kind of interesting that he scouted the Spire and now goes on a little bit of a run with his 2 Thors. Doesn't have really that much to defend back at home. We'll see some turrets getting finished and built on the appropriate locations, and mostly tanks and Hellbats.
I kind of like that Terran is just letting this happen, like he's just backering. He could have tried pushing and being like, you can't possibly have that much army after doing everything you just did. And he would have had Thors with it too, but staying back is not so much a problem. It only becomes a problem if mass Muta becomes a problem, and honestly, that can be a scary situation when the creep's coming at you, when there's 50 Mutas, you have to micro your Thors. It's not going to happen. Terran's almost already maxed out with upgrades and is moving. At least Dark knows he's moving out, and he's going to go for the desperate Muta. Yeah,
mass Muta, trying to get those, I believe, 5 Thors, but I think there will be 6 or 7 in the end. Yeah, that's already 5. And that's a massive numbers with +1 upgraded, soon to be, +2 vehicle for the mech army. And look at this, those 12, 15 Roaches are not going to do the trick. Maybe the Muta with perfect micro and magic boxing and everything, but I just don't see it happening, Jess.
No, as long as the Thors are walking across the map anyways. These 2 might be taken care of, but there's 3 more almost here. He's going to micro with them as well. Nicely done by Terran.
Yeah, it's a perfect game once again, and the opening with the Nidus not doing anything obviously put him in a rough spot. Now, most of the tanks are getting taken out, but as you mentioned, those 3 extra Thors, and actually all those Mutas clumping up. GG! Okay, Brazil actually doing well without Calazur.
Very well. I do want to kind of give some really cool credit, though, to Bolivia, if this is really their plan. Their first player showed Roaches early on, but didn't go for a Nidus. In the second game, they do, and put the Roach one in the exact position. I mean, we talk about that happening in a best of 3 between like the same player, like, oh, they're a genius, but that's communication between the team, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really smart of you to mention that. I do think, like, when you know that your team is not supposed to take the win, well, on a simple, normal games, then yeah, you want to start thinking about those kind of strategies and trying to fool your opponents.
So we have 2-0 here for Brazil now, and only one player left for Bolivia, so that's Dark Unnamed.
Dark Unnamed. So that means like it's a slightly better version of Dark that we just saw, like Dark Unnamed. I don't know.
Is
I don't know how
worse?
Unnamed would make it better. I thought of a strategy in my head to make it sound like it would be a better player, but I do think that Unnamed might mean that he's slightly worse.
I mean, I thought initially it was Dark Unmasked, and I thought it was like the the program or the website or whatever where you can see barcodes. But maybe he's like, I'm actually the barcode. I'm actually that dark. I'm super good, but it's not even unmasked. So
really mysterious.
Yeah, mysterious. Player.
Yeah. So next map is gonna be Neon Violet. Is it a good map for TVZ?
well, it's a good map for mech, which is what Terran has been doing.
It is.
So the only complicated part is getting through the neon violet squares in the middle, but Terran seems to know what he's doing, seems to accommodate for all the things thrown at him, so I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, I think from what we've seen, Game 1, Game 2, I expect the same thing over and over again from Terran. I mean, he's played 3 decent maps for mech. He worked perfectly in all situations. And yeah, to just test out the water, just go for the same strategy over and over again. He looked like he was able to defend the Nidus, even though he scouted it super late. He was waiting on his stores to be available before actually building some tanks, and he defended it anyway. So I think he should feel super comfortable here.
Okay, well, we found out just after our short break. Sorry, gosh.
It's okay.
So if Bolivia can take a game here, see you in 3 minutes. Hello and welcome back with us in Paris, and I'm here with Zombie Grub and Rotterdam. So you've seen the 2 games. What did you think of Terran?
He's surprisingly good, man. He's actually a lot better than I thought he was. I thought those guys would be quite evenly matched, but he really seems to be a little bit of a level above against the guys from Bolivia so far. Sorry. It's been a long day. It's been a very long week for me, but I'm very impressed with what Terran has been showing us so far. Almost seemed like he was having some fun in that previous game. I loved the reaction against the Nidus, even though I think if he didn't drop this E-base, he would have still been fine. He just looks really solid.
Okay, and now Dark Unnamed is coming against him. Have you ever heard of this player?
No, I would be lying if I said I was very familiar with him. I haven't really seen him. I'm sure that I probably
on the ladder you've met him?
Yeah, I mean, I see his rank, and I find it highly unlikely that we have never played against each other, since I've played a lot on NA ladder as well, since spent a lot of time in California, but not super familiar with him. I think he's got his work cut out for him, though, because Terran looks really confident in this matchup, and he just looks like he's a little bit better than your average 5'5", 5'6" player. Terran plays like a solid 6k MMR Terran, and yeah, he's really showing up.
He is. I'm not sure if maybe Bolivia considers Dark Unmasked. They're not unmasked. Just went over how it's not
Unnamed.
his name. Unnamed, yeah. I mean, they could consider him his best player. We don't actually know, but so far, I mean, they're getting a lot of intel in the TVZ matchup. That's fantastic. They maybe even tried to use it in a very clever way last game, but it just actually seems to prove instead that Terran is quite good.
Okay, well, here we go on Neon Violet Square, and we're going to find out if the last player for Bolivia can take a point to Brazil.
So, Neon Violet Square, before the break, we did mention that's a good mech map, and Terran seems to prefer it, although it could just be because he liked those maps for it. He might also do Bio. I kind of want to see Bio, actually, see what it's like, but stick with what's working, I suppose. And here we are into our 3rd game of this series. In the bottom right, the last guy before the revive, it is Dark Unnamed for Bolivia.
And on the left top side, we're looking at perhaps the second coming of Calazur, as he's really been playing some very solid TVZ so far. Representing Brazil, it's Terran. Man, I don't know if Diego has Wi-Fi in his plane or not, but if he does and he's watching these games, he must be really proud of his fellow Terran, fellow Brazilian Terran, so to speak. as he's really making it look quite smooth so far for Brazil. I thought they would have a bumpy ride today without their star player, but right now it honestly doesn't seem like they have too much to worry.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic for, I think, their team morale and just going into the round of 16. If Terran, their backup guy, is able to perform this well. Of course, it gets a little awkward when he is the backup guy, so like if Kelzer comes back and then it's who is it, Eric and Turkey Dano, and they're like, man, maybe we should get Terran back. But nah, it's just a really good sign, and they all seem confident as a team.
Yep, we'll keep a close eye, of course, on the opening so far. I'm with you. I would absolutely love to see some Bio here, since he showed us that he's obviously very capable of executing their mech builds. Mech, of course, solid against Zerg right now, but it would be very fun to see him have some fun. Maybe show us some of that Bio micro, see if you can snipe Banelings left, right, and center, just like Diego does in his prime.
I was going to say, if Kelzer's really going to be proud of his teammate, it'd have to be if he's playing Bio and doing some really cool drop micro. But it is not going to be, you know, a 2-1-1, at least start things off. That would be the biggest tell. Day
9's car has been stolen. I would like to report it. Oh, no, wait, it's there. It was in Fog of War.
I was trying to like figure out this joke because he did think his car was stolen.
Yeah, no, Tasteless had a joke at the Indox 3 Masters Katowice as one of our observers. I don't know if it was Kevin or not. Started to randomly zoom in on the car, and then Tasteless said, "I just want to do my duty as a good civilian, that or as a good citizen, that I believe there is a potential car robbery here in front of Rob's gun store." Just your typical Tasteless introduction to a game, you know.
Of course. They love such cool things on Blackpink and Neon Violet Square. We'll do that. So far, our Zergs from Bolivia have opened up with roaches. One defensively, maybe he meant to attack, but then got a little bit flustered. And then one very, very offensively. What happens here? Does Dark Unnamed play any differently?
Yeah, it's tough though, right? I mean, Nidus builds obviously seem that Terran is kind of on top of it. He scouted it, handled it quite well. He's obviously on point with his Hellions, and he doesn't just throw them away. He doesn't suicide them. He's willing to trade and get a couple drones here and there, but so far the Hellion Banshee openings have just been really working out for him, and it's kind of hard to surprise the Terran. You know, unless Dark Unnamed would channel his inner Scarlet and perhaps make a bunch of Zerglings, try to surround the Hellions and then counterattack, no regret style. But once again, it's hard to catch the Hellions of these guys, as his control has been on point so far in this series.
This is the earliest Roach Warren by far. This is before the third base is done. At least, I'm pretty sure. Maybe the first one was around the same time. But the point is, it's the Roach Warren, not at the front either, so a little more secret.
Yeah, maybe he decides to go very funky and even a hatchery tech. We'll keep a close eye on it for now. The Reaper and the Hellions start poking away at this hatchery. Obviously wants to see what's happening behind all of this. I mean, Dark Unnamed is doing a good job so far, and obviously keeping Terran at bay and hiding this information. But I mean, what is he going to do? Make a bunch of roaches right now?
And go across the... I mean, that's basically suicide once you see that it's Banshees, especially. Again, Terran once didn't go for Banshees. You went for the Liberator, which is, you know, I guess then you could push them. But now if the Banshee's fine, roaches moving across the map, it's just... it's actually just so bad for the Zerg. It's kind of almost laughable after that. So just offensive, it looks like.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't want to invest in Zergling speed and doesn't want to make links. Feels like they're just going to get roasted anyway. Yeah, he just makes a couple of defensive roaches. Now, it's still going to be tough. I mean, he doesn't have a wall of going. Would have been nice if, let's say, he has like 2 Evos and a Spine on this ramp. Then he only has to worry about anything coming in from the north side. He is squeezing out a lot of drones. 13 drones at once on the production tab. But let's see how many of those drones he can actually keep alive, as Terran is probably quite eager to do something about that work count of his opponent.
So Terran did cancel Cloak after it was scouted, which, I mean, it's actually kind of cool. If Dark Unnamed did want to go across the map, that would have been definitely a stop sign there, and then he doesn't even end up doing it. So he's going to potentially waste money on too many Spore Crawlers. Having one's always decent for the Liberator, but not protecting his third base, and a lot of drones are here.
Yep, this middle line very, very exposed. 3 drones go down immediately. A few more do go down. Don't forget about that Liberated. That could potentially be very annoying in the main base. And Liberator was wasting some time on his Overlord. And Terran's like, I probably should see if I can get something done. which he absolutely would have. Even if he doesn't get a lot of drones here, he's going to force all these drones to stop mining for quite some time, as a single queen has a lot of issues in general with the Liberator, and not necessarily in dying, but more just that it takes a long time to take care of that Liberator. And Terran is already kind of running away with this game.
Yeah, I guess Dark Unnamed was kind of worried about this front push. Roaches usually do well against Hellions, didn't have a lot of them. Maybe didn't expect them there either, was not paying attention, and took some devastating losses. The Liberator still lives.
Yep, I mean, a single Spore Crawler obviously has a tough time dealing with the Liberator as well. Well, all of the queens are here, so this should make Dark Unnamed's life a tiny bit easier. If that Liberator would have just stayed in the main, the amount of indirect damage of not being able to mine of this middle line would have been absolutely ridiculous.
It would have. I gotta say, the Creep Tumor, the Creep Spread is trying to be better than we saw last game, but Terran is trying to be on top of it. We have a fairly, it's not so much like it's a quick Hydralisk Den, it's just that it's not supported by very much. It doesn't have any upgrades, no evolution chippers we put down. Fourth base on the way, Roach speed is on the way. It's going to be Roach Hydra in a macro game, and it is going to be back, of course, once again for Terran.
Yeah, as we already saw, the additional factories being slapped on, +1 vehicle weapons on the way. Terran probably quite satisfied with how this game went so far. I think in total this was at least 12, 14 drones or something. I think, and he's going to try to get a few more here as the doors are wide open, and he just invites himself to this little party. Doesn't get too many yet though. There's actually a pretty good response by Dark Unnamed. Ends up losing 5 drones in the process, but at least those Hellions are gone. But it's 15 drones at this point. I feel it could have been a lot worse, but it's still not great.
No, it's not great. And it's, I guess the drone count is getting back up to something that is good on 4 bases. Creepsphere once again could maybe kind of blow up here, but...
Okay, I was like 6 kills on that Viking. What did it kill? You know,
couple wings, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fast Infestation Pit only now slapping down Evolution Chambers. You usually see those put down at the exact same time. And Terran is just going to have to potentially wait for that later game mech push, but we saw that in game number 1. He did it very well. He considered the Vipers, which I'm sure is Dark Unnamed's first go-to. He's actually got on a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, maybe wants to get a couple Banelings in case the Hellion count goes very high, or he's worried about Hellbats. Obviously, Banelings can still be very useful against that composition. Still a lot of Hellions driving around, and of course, we're going to keep a close eye on those 2 Tors that are heading towards the other side of the map. But Muscular Augment is already done. I would actually love to see him just hide these Hydras a little bit. You know, you've got Hydra speed, put him near your Evo Chamber, let him commit with the Tor drop, and then run forward, because the moment you snipe a medevac, obviously the Tor is committed. No recall for Terran.
The one thing that Terran has been doing, and he continues to do after scanning that, is he's aggressive with his Thors. This is a terrible idea. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it like that.
Oh, I love it though. I mean, if instant focus on one of these medevacs, these Thors actually trading out quite decently so far. Somehow they meld all these Hydras. Where are the Roaches that are supposed to help out that Hydra force?
They're so late.
Yeah, I mean, once again...
I can't believe this turned out to be okay. He's going to save one of the Thors, and this other one is going to take out a lot of Roaches with him. That's usually just like a terrible idea for Terran, and it finally really works out here.
Gets 10 drones, and I think that was 7 or 8 Hydras as well. I mean, he ended up losing a single Tor in the medevac, but I guess he's sort of okay with resetting the count of these Hydras. I mean, in the end, that was a cost-efficient trade.
Yeah. It was. I cannot believe it. You scan that many Hydras, even a Spore to complicate things if you're a little off the center, and it's just supposed to be a bad idea.
What's going on with the tech lab? Why is he killing his own tech lab?
His tank couldn't get out.
Stuck? Can he just go via the left side? There's no way that it was stuck there. I guess it was.
I think it's just. It can't just be stuck, right?
I mean, like, even if it is stuck, I mean, the tech lab on the right side obviously had nothing to do with it. What did that poor tech lab ever do?
You're right about that. That's just gonna sit there. Okay. Well, no, it just ran around. Okay, whatever. That's a mystery for later. Looks like we're already on 4 bases for Terran. He's even got a 5th on the way. Of course, on the end of that square, your 4th can be an orbital if you take it on that backside, which is really, really nice. Dark Unnamed going up to Hive. He did add on the Devastation Pits quick enough. Upgrades were a little bit forgotten about, but now finishing up. Not forgotten about, like purposely discarded. And it is Broodlords. The timing. This is what Terran had to face in game number 1, but not against Sling Baneling.
No, I mean... Perhaps if the Tor count isn't too high, if the Viking count isn't outrageous, but I must say I kind of like Terran. He's been analyzing this game, he looks at it, he's like, I've got 10 tanks, we've got a couple Cyclones as well, plenty of Hellions. How likely is it really that I'm going to die against anything on the ground with this army? Well, not very likely. What could I die to? Very fast Broodlords that somehow catch me off guard when I don't have enough anti-air. So he's already squeezing out Vikings. A little reckless there as he ends up losing one of them. Second one went down there as well, I believe. But I still love it. Just already start producing those Vikings. 1 HP, of course.
Yeah, Terran seems to have this really down pat. He's also finishing up +2 attack and starting smart servos. But the Ling Baneling Hydra thing is kind of what I wanted to really talk about, and then the Thor thing happened to confuse me. But the Banelings really do create a different dynamic where the Hellbats are gone, but then Lings are really where it gets really tricky because tanks start firing every which way. But that requires some type of surround or back attack as well. Darkaname's trying to set that up now, but it might be too late. He's already taken quite a bit of damage on his army. Oh, it's just like a full surround. He's setting it up nicely.
Yeah, but I mean, he has only Banelings on the south side, so if the tanks shoot a couple of times in the middle of that pack, I do like that, cutting off the reinforcements. He's going to go for it from multiple angles now, and he might be able to clean this up in the end as the Banelings do connect with the middle of the tank pack. Well done there. That's actually a beautiful engagement by Dark Unnamed in the end. I was worried about it because it felt the tanks were pretty well spread and, you know, split up, but well done. That's a solid victory.
What's really funny is that against that specific fight, if they had been a little more clumped up, it actually might have been better. They would have all, like, the surround would happen as quickly, and then they all could have focused on the Banelings perhaps. But he was so worried about Vipers. That's really what he was worried about, that he didn't realize the concave was hitting him. Smart,
I thought it was Hyperflux Rotors.
No, it was Smart Servos.
Oh. Did they change the name?
Hyperflight Rotors is the Banshee one.
Yeah, I know. So, man, they look like each other. What is this?
They do?
I feel like the upgrades look like each other. That is all right. Well, no Banshees, no Starports yet. I was like, why is he getting Hyperflux Rotors? And I was like, well, I'm just lost. Too many TVZs today. As we have 14 drones on the production tab now for Dark Unnamed, who actually is in a pretty playable position after that massive victory he just got. With the Greatest Spider on the way, we have, is this only a single Starport still?
I do believe so.
Okay, he's getting one more right now.
Yeah, I like that. He did try and hit that pre-hive time, which he successfully did. It just didn't work out as well as he was hoping for, and is now accommodating for what is naturally going to be a Zerg, reaching to that hive tech, reaching to the Greater Spire. He's going to try pushing through this area once again, and Dark Unnamed does not have the surround set up, but he was pretty good at buying time and getting that full surround.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, a lot of drones there running just straight into the tanks. I mean, that's obviously quite painful to start this off with. The Vipers are on the production tab. He just doesn't have them yet. Would have been so sweet to just have a couple of abducts there, because then I actually think he could perhaps just move into it one more time, as he does have a nice mix of Hydras and Banes here. I mean, I'm starting to get worried about the upgrades, though. He's still only at his 1-1, and I guess it will all come down to the Broodlords.
Yeah, but he's not really got that many. He's not quite maxed out, doesn't quite have enough gas, I suppose, to make as many Broodlords as he would want. He also has no support for the Broodlords, no Parasitic Bomb. Actually, no, he's getting it now.
Yeah, I mean, he has a couple Vipers
It's
out.
something, but there's actually, if there's a couple Thors of those Vikings and they do target fire, I think this is totally winnable for Terran.
Yeah, I mean, Terran has obviously still been in a sweet spot, despite the fact that that one big fight didn't really work out. He's getting quite aggressive now, moving forward. A lot of the tanks are very far in the back, so they're obviously not participating in this fight, but he still gets a couple of very sweet hits off. I mean, the Broodlords, they really need to start showing up fast. And even if they do, I'm kind of worried, because there are Vikings in the mix, and obviously as long as these Thors survive, it's going to make it very complicated for Dark Unnamed to get near those Vikings.
Parasitic Bomb? Yeah, it does good hit. He's going to try and split the last second. Doesn't really do a good job, though. There's 2 Parasitic Bombs as well. All the Vikings go down. Yeah,
that's actually a really good way to start for our Bolivian Zerg, who's going to take care of all these Vikings. The Thors have disappeared as well. I would love to see him keep going now. I understand he wants to replace his drone count a little bit. He gets 15. He has the gold on the way. But you don't want to just sit back and let the Terran get like 18 Vikings out again, as 3 more factories are being produced as well. These tanks are going to get picked off. I'd love to see him just go for it with his Broodlords, with his Corruptors, see if he can get some real damage on. That's a free Thor!
What is with Terran and his Thors?
That's a second free Thor! What?
Oh no!
What?
That is so good to have. 2 extra Thors could be a real difference maker. That's all he's producing right now. He realizes that he needs to change up his composition. He did save enough tanks to be okay against the Hydras if they focus fire, but now he needs something to really deal with the Broodlords. Vikings they really aren't dependable.
This Thor just really...
No!
This cannot be real.
That just happened. That happened twice.
I'm actually speechless.
Yeah. This guy, No, he really trusts his Thors, man.
Man, this Thor laughs in the face of danger. It's like an entire... Who would win? Well, I guess one big mechanical guy kind of makes sense, right? But somehow takes on a little Hydra squad by himself and lives to tell the tale. Dark on name, that's a shame. He got a couple of really good engagements in this game so far. Obviously earlier on with just the Hydras and the Banes, then also with the Vipers in the mix. If he would have been a little cleaner and pay slightly more attention to his minimap, he gets a couple of free tours as well. And then really I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Terran.
Yeah, no, I agree. He would have been open to maybe the Hellion run by and lost the gold-based drones, but that's something that he might have been able to take out an entire base for, and that would have been a good trade. We have Terran actually finalizing his upgrade, starting his air ship weapons as well, and that Viking count is quite scary. As long as they're relatively split, they'll be adding a lot of damage on those Broodlords.
6 more drones get roasted there by the Hellbats as well. The Broodlord count has been going up. Does he have enough anti-air now? He's truly relying on Parasitic Bomb to get the job done once again. I believe one of the Vipers just went down there. He lost 26 drones already. I mean, he needs another very, very decisive victory here, but it feels like he's a little bit indecisive.
The Broodlords weren't actually attacking the tanks. They're attacking whatever's on the right side, and tanks on Thors is really what makes Broodlords look good, to be honest. It's that friendly fire. Instead, the Broodlords come in at the last second. It might still be good enough, but that could have been, I think, a much better fight for Dark Unnamed.
The Hydra is still working a little bit on these Vikings, and our Bolivian Zerg does live, but he lost so many drones in the last minute and a half or so, and once again lost a lot of very expensive units there. Oh my goodness. Lost 82 drones already throughout this game. It's a shame. He had a couple of moments that really were supposed to give me some hope there for him to potentially turn it around, as this Hatch is running very low on HP. But Terran is showing some mercy and goes for the Hydras instead.
No. Okay. That's good. That's good. This might be the final push. There's still Vikings that no longer have to worry about Parasitic Bomb. Tanks are focused on the Hydras, and this is going to be it. Terran is going to grab himself to 3-0, and then it's a question of who is revived.
Yeah, a couple of Hydras do get roasted, but these brutes are super exposed, and obviously I don't think there is any way that Dark Unnamed is going to make another hold here, as more tanks are coming in from the north side too. Terran is looking really good so far in this series, in this entire Nation War. He's having a blast. He's executing his builds well. He's finding economic damage in every single game that he's playing, whether he opens up with the Liberator, with the Cloak Banshees, or just relies on the Hellions to get the job done. I'd probably go for Ill.
I don't know. I think Dark Unmasked was actually pretty impressive. GG, Terran really showing up here for Kelazur. But Dark Unmasked, unnamed, darn it. I think he really could have... I feel like he can improve, you know, like he can get that same game, because so far Terran's been doing nothing but, you know, 4 base mech, I guess we'll call it, right? That is time to get to Broodlords without dying immediately to something silly like a Hellbat push. And then he just fixes a couple of the engagements, really. You know, he does push when you were saying he should push, and then he does use his Broodlords on top of the Thors. Because one thing that was really missing, this is just so bizarre, I can't believe he moved in when he saw how many Hydras are there, but it worked out so darn well. Yeah, I definitely can't judge. Anyways, one of the mistakes that Terran was making towards some of those later game engagements was that he didn't have a lot of Hellbats. That's usually murder on the Thors to have to try and deal with the Broodlords, especially once the Vikings are gone. But it ended up mattering is that it was always a little bit too awkward for Dark.
This was a sweet fight, though. I mean, look at Dark Unnamed channeling his inner real Dark, perhaps, as he's coming in from every single angle. And cleans up this push, survives without really taking too much economic damage. After that, it was such a shame. He had like 3 tours he could have absolutely killed for free. And then I really feel he gets some more momentum. He buys more time for himself. Maybe the Vipers that he has, they get some extra energy as well. And then the next fight that he also survived could have perhaps been even a more decisive victory, which was this one, I believe.
Yes?
Yeah, this is the one he survives as well. He comes in a little late with the brutes, but the Parasitic Bomb really took care of the Vikings in this fight.
Yeah, actually I kind of want to watch this one unfold. It did take a while for things to battle, but this is the one where the Broodlords attacked the Hellbats when they weren't even protecting anything. Oh no, maybe they died beforehand. They died beforehand, look at that.
Look at how clumped up all those Vikings are. If you land one Parasitic Bomb in the middle, then suddenly there's a little bit of panic. The Vikings move forward as well. Look at all these Hydras. They've got free reign.
Yeah.
Means that the Broodlords live, and obviously as long as the Broodlord lives, and by now the Taurs went down as well, I mean, you don't really have much to fear anymore of this tank army. But at this point, like, this is a shame. That's the first free tour, then he gets a second free tour there as well, and he's like, nah, don't want them. Then there was this tour who's going full rampage mode, and he kills like 5 Hydras and a Bane in the process, and lives to tell the tale as well. Yeah, that's a shame. Dark Unnamed had a lot of good moments there, a couple of beautiful engagements, but the easier things, that's where he kind of fell apart a tiny bit.
Yeah, but it makes the decision for the final player really interesting because we didn't know anything about these guys really when we came in. We got to see a good showing from each one of them, but who had really the best showing? And I kind of go with Dark Unnamed.
I'm going with Ill.
Okay.
I
mean, I think that's fair.
And look at us both being wrong, and it's just going to be Dark.
I don't know. Well, I really just want to wait, guys. Just 5, 4.
Sometimes you need a moment of silence. Let's take a look. Who is going to be the final player? Yep, we're both wrong. This is magnificent. We're on a roll over here, guys. All right, so we saw Dark, of course, his game on Backwater. He attempted the Nidus build. Took a lot of damage from that Cloak Bench there. I always feel that whenever you want to execute these Nidus builds, you want to do everything as clean as possible up to the moment that Nidus pops in the main base. And then obviously there's a very good chance you can get the job done. But the moment you have to pull all your drones away, you lose 6, 7 drones in the process. And then I always feel that it's going to be so hard to get a build like that to work anyway.
Yeah, the Nidus Worm... there were some things he could have fixed, and I'm like, I guess I could believe that he would have won that game. There also might have been just some discussion between the team members. Like, we all kind of had our strengths and weaknesses, like who really is going to take it on Acid Plant, which is our next and potentially final map. TVZ-wise, I think it is a little more awkward to go for Mech, to be honest, although I think Mech can be done on any map. Maybe even Abiogenesis. But like the third is like, okay, and then the fourth's like kind of far away. It does lend itself to much later games, usually. And at this point, Bolivia has 3 TVZs fall back on of research, and hopefully they get it right this time. As we are in game number 4, and in the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is Dark.
And on the left top side, we're looking at the main base of the man who's trying to get the all-kill done. None of us really predicted that, but he's looking mighty fine so far. Representing Brazil, it's Terran. What if Terran is just a different name for Diego and he's not on the plane at all?
Trickery.
Has anyone ever seen them at the same place twice?
It's true. Has anyone ever seen Terran at all? It's a big question. It would have been really cool and very, I feel like, Kaiser-like if he tried to finish us off with the tier axe, but as it would be a little difficult to get across the map and really have an effective one. He seems to be quite solid, just choosing to go for a 1-1-1, only slightly varying with the starport tech, and then going into mech, which, as I said, is totally doable on this map. It just, it's like the tiniest little bit awkward to get the 3rd and 4th. Maybe like as a Protoss, you kind of feel the same way. It's awkward.
It's funny, if I look at the style that Terran has been showing us so far, I actually feel that it symbolizes Juanito a lot more than it does Calazur, right? Like, I feel like Juan always loved to open up with the 6 Hellions, and then he does give us a lot of variation as well, whether it's a Liberator, Viking Liberator, or even a Medevac drop with Hellions, or of course the Cloak Banshees. And it doesn't really give me much of a Calazur feeling, so perhaps he's actually betraying Calazur a little bit, and secretly Special is his real idol.
Maybe. It's once again the 1-1-1, follow up the command center. Dark, he is the one that tried the Nidus Worm. These guys have a lot of information to go off of, a lot of things they've set up for themselves that they can completely change it. They could go Ling Baneling Hydra, they could go Ling Baneling Muta, and just really, really weird Terran out. I mean, a 2-base Spire, 3-base Spire, whatever, like super early one would be quite weird. As Terran has got to figure, like, I have these guys on lockdown. They tried to cheese me, they tried to macro game me, and I'm all good to go. Yeah,
he's really putting up one hell of a show, and even though there's obviously still room for improvement, he definitely does a lot of things right, especially in the first 5-6 minutes of this game. He just seems to pretty much always get himself in a very sweet position where the story of the game more becomes like, how can Zerg turn this around, rather than, you know, how can Terran do some damage to the Zerg right now? How can Terran make this complicated? That is a very fast player before the 3-minute mark.
I think a fast 2-base Muta would be something very interesting, and we'll see. I mean, I think that's what it is, but maybe a Roach gets put down as soon as I say it. But it is kind of hard to not get scouted. First of all, that 3rd hatch timing is always going to be like, okay, what are you doing? The lair is at the natural, so that Reaper's getting awfully close to scouting it.
Yeah, why do you think he did it in the natural? What's the idea behind that?
I mean, a lot of Terrans don't even bother trying to go into the natural and God forbid going into the main on Acid Plant either, because there's no hop-up spot, so I don't know. It seems unnecessary.
What if he drops an Evo chamber and he goes for a Link Queen flood?
I mean, that would be awfully surprising. Like, I guess that could happen.
But nah, he's mining way too much gas. So that kind of has to be a Spire.
Yeah, it has to be. And then, you know, regardless of where he did put it and where we think he should have put it, it's not scouted. So that's the most important thing. And the Banshee might even try and maneuver around the main. That seems to always be like the go-to target for a lot of Terrans, which in that case, it would see normal stuff.
It feels to me that
why did he reveal that he has... Wait, did he just spread creep on that Overlord over there? Why is he revealing he has a lair?
Maybe he wants to spread fear in the heart of Terran. Terran throws down the scan and he's like, why are you dropping creep? How is that possible? Spots the lair, doesn't see the Spire. I mean, I think what he wants to do is pretend it's going to be another Nidus build. I think that's the idea behind it. He's like, oh, look at me. I'm going to get some queens out here. There's going to be creep already. Obviously, Terran is a little bit confused. Don't you feel that he almost took his gases like too early for 2-base Muta? Because I feel like his mineral income is really hurting. Like, yeah, he has a lot of gas, but he had literally like 4 drones on the minerals in his natural. No,
I agree with you. I think the timing here is not perfect, and he still is on a relatively low like army. It's not like he overmade Lings or something like that. These Hellions not going to get an opportunity. Queen's a little too beefy there, and he doesn't know it's a Spire. He's probably still waiting on the Nidus Worm, but I would really hope that he's trying to be cheese, trying to be all in before that he is thinking of the possibilities and just starts with maybe like a Thor and a tank, like kind of like middle of the road it.
I mean, Cloak Banshee is obviously not going to be super useful. Cloak did finish up, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, so it did just recently finish up.
Okay, he... oh my gosh, really doesn't scan. He knows something is up. He's only getting one extra factory pretty quickly, so trying to compensate here, but it's all the gas is taken, so...
Which he knows as well, since he's scanned in the main base and in the natural.
Yeah.
The armory is about to finish up now, so it's even getting an eBay, so I have the feeling that we're going to see a turret in each mineral line being thrown up as quickly as possible. I mean, the Mutas at least are going to force a very different type of game, right? They're going to force Terran to play a little different. The missile turrets are going up, so he's indeed putting 2 and 2 together. Without the Mutas, defending against Hellions and Cyclones, by the way, while there is a Banshee in the main base, I would actually kind of like to see him defend a little bit with these Mutas. Otherwise, I'm afraid he's going to take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, and Cyclones can take out 1 Muta, maybe even 2. That's exactly what's going to happen. So that natural is looking a little bit vulnerable. I do believe he has a Spore Crawler in the main, so the Banshee won't be doing too much. But the defense of the Mutas is so far good. Good enough.
You move the Banshee up a little bit more north, they're a little bit slow with this one. He's going to end up losing the Banshee to the Spore. That's unfortunate. But still, 6 drones went down already, and these Mutas are just not finding the success that they're looking for. Because Terran, he was on point. He got the turrets just in time. Obviously, these Mutas still going to be very annoying until the Tor is out, but that Tor will come out.
I wish he had made a Viking, actually. Vikings are not bad as emergency early game Muta defense because they have range, so they're often the ones that get that last hit that the missile turret wasn't able to, but it's a bit nitpicky, as the point is he has a Thor.
Yeah, there was one Viking. It's just out on the map.
Yeah,
hunting
I
for
guess
overlords.
I meant continued making Vikings. That one dies.
But I mean, in the end, like, these turrets definitely did their job. I mean, these 5 workers are ahead. The hatchery is quite late on the bottom side of the map for Dark. And now with the Tor out as well, I mean, is Dark gonna go just switch into roaches from here on? I mean, he's got maybe a tiny bit of freedom because he did take care of the Hellions and the Cyclones, so he can start droning up and then potentially go very heavy on the roach count. And maybe just hope, because he forced all these different timings. I mean, he's definitely forcing a big reaction with his Mutas, right? So maybe Terran moves out before he's supposed to move out and then catch him off guard with a crazy amount of roaches.
This is actually a very awkward game for the mech player. Mech word game. Because he didn't add a 3rd CC, and you can that was pretty nice. You can absolutely defend against 2-base Muta with 3rd CC as long as you do get an armor and an engineering bay, and then you have a much cleaner game where you're just like, haha, I got you. But because you thought it was a Nidus room at first, it is a little bit awkward. His 5th and 6th gases are going to be very late.
He's losing a lot of these Mutas, though. It would have been really nice to keep them around just to A, deal with Banshees, B, potentially deal with some Hellions that will be cruising around later on as well, or just to have some map presences. I mean, I know he still has a few, but that's 6 Mutas for... What did he really get there in the end? A missile turret and an SCV?
Yeah, it absolutely wasn't worth it. I know he's not going into Mutas anymore, and maybe he thought, like, I don't need him anymore, but you really do. Like, always potentially backstabbing, always threatening the 3rd base, which now Terran might just, like, go ahead and grab because he's like, there's something to stop me. Those are the Mutas could have done. But this Banshee is getting some decent scouting, seeing the drone counts. It will want to see how many roaches are being made. If it gets just around the third base, that would be really good because it also start doing damage. But I don't think Terran's being greedy. No, he's not. Third CC is not even ready to be put over, so he doesn't have to be greedy. And as long as he's behind a wall, this roach attack shouldn't break him.
I mean, Terran is not crazy. He knows he's done quite a bit of economic damage. He also knows that the build of Dark was very uneconomic, so he's just analyzing the situation. He knows he doesn't have to build a third CC on location. He can just stay indeed behind the wall, because he knows that he is very far ahead economically, and as long as he doesn't move out too early and doesn't get caught off guard by roaches, like I mentioned before, he's always going to be fine. He scans it, he sees all the roaches, all the Ravages. Darren has one job, that's surviving this push, and then potentially just waving the Brazilian flag because he got the all kill.
Yeah. Ravagers, okay, I guess it's to break here, but they will want to have the Corrosive Bios for the tanks that are still available. There's so many of them. They'll certainly be able to Corrosive Bio on the tanks, but they might die in too large of a number first. And then if you get the tanks, they got a Thor.
That's a lot of Ravager corpses there being fried by just a few of those shots. The army is just not really there anymore. Dark could perhaps still try to macro his way out of it, as he did do a little bit of economic damage. That's exactly what he's going to do, 11 drones at once. But there is no Evo chamber. He doesn't have this base saturated yet. I mean, he's going to get an Evo chamber now. But he also knows that this is an uphill battle, if he's ever had one.
Yeah. And the only way that I think he would really be able to do any damage whatsoever, like a fucking SCVs here and there, is if he went back into mutas. Roaches are not going to be sneaky enough, and obviously Hydras are just the frontal attack unit. So this is just Terran's game. He's actually so confident he's outbuilding his fourth on location.
Yeah, of course, makes sense. He just saw the amount of roaches, the amount of Ravages that were produced, and since he survived it without really losing too much, just a handful of SCVs, he knows he's in a mighty fine spot and doesn't really have to fear anything anymore. And if Dark wants to make more units again to do something about that fourth base, he should be easily able to defend it by now, as he's got like 5 factories up and running. Still has a Banshee, he's got Thors, he's got tanks. What a performance by this Brazilian Terran. Really a player to look forward to perhaps seeing more. I mean, it's a shame that he's their substitute, like you said.
Yeah, that is a bit of a shame. I'm sure that Eric and Turkey Dono are just waiting for their opportunity, maybe in the round of 16 when Killazar is back. And now they know that they have someone super dependable if they ever do have to, I don't know, go somewhere.
Where are like these SCVs going?
I am not really sure about that. They finished the wall and they had to go around.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Terran's going to start working on the rock wall here, and then it will be a direct shoot to Dark's third base, which is not a lot of creep spread, and there's not a lot of army.
No, there isn't really a whole lot of anything. I don't think he even has both upgrades for the Hydras. He's getting groove spines now, which is obviously useful defensively, but as Kevin is showing us as well, no muscular rockmans just yet. And this mech army already looks a little too much to deal with, as long as all of these tanks are not move commanded straight into their grave. You know, normally Dark knows as well that the ending is here. It was great to see Bolivia play. Honestly, haven't casted these guys a lot at all. Maybe played them a couple of times, and it's always fun to see more of them. But I think it's going to end here by the hands of Terran, who played a mean Terran game.
Yeah, just needs to spread his tanks the tiniest little bit, make sure that Corrosive Bios don't get like 4 for 1. These Corrosive Bios tried to hit the Hellbats, which they did not do that great of a job of. And he's just going to evacuate from the third and try and continue the game with just 3 bases entirely.
And now he throws down 4 barracks with tech labs for all the nukes.
I wish. Nice. They're going to have any fun way to end the game.
Instead, he's going to go for 3 more factories. He's like, I'm doing pretty good in this mech thing. He's like, you know, I don't want to have the final moments of this game, you know, spotting me with 1,200 minerals, 700 gas in the bank. Let's make sure that if I do win, I do it in stars. We do have a big counterattack here by Dark. Sort of like a last-ditch effort, who's losing a lot of units in the process. He is finally killing a lot of SCVs, and that's nice, of course, but what's less nice is this mech army that's in his natural. Going to be able to take care of the Hydra then, not before Muscular Rockmans is done, but I mean, I don't think we're going to see too many additional Hydras being produced here.
Yeah, and the tanks were in good enough position with even like a last-minute choke being created that the army of Dark, that's it, and now it's at a third of the size it once was. Walking up the ramp is going to lose the rest of it. Doesn't even kill the tank with the Corrosive Bile, and that is going to be the all-kill.
Yeah, well done by Terran as well, that he left plenty of tanks behind, right? Of course, he was in a masterful position, and he's normally never supposed to lose this, but let's say he doesn't have anything. Those tanks are being move commanded. He doesn't get all those shots off, as GG is called, and Terran does indeed get the all-kill. Then maybe you find yourself in a weird base turret scenario, and you're suddenly like, how many roaches does he have? You know, do I have to worry about a hatch on the right top side of the map? But we'll have plenty of tanks behind. He put up a clinic of how to have some fun with good old Mac versus Zerg.
That was a really nice Terran mech game. I'm glad we got to see another Terran too. Kelazur almost giving us a better show because he didn't come in here and just stomp all over everyone.
Congratulations, Brazil advances to the next round, and Terran is all killed Bolivia, and it's the 5th all kill of this tournament so far. It's really impressive for a...
No, it's always impressive with an all-kill. You know, there's always potential for snipes on a best-of-1 with the maps being pre-chosen. It's supposed to be a situation where maybe you don't, even if there is an ace player, and instead we've had a good number of them.
Yeah, without Kelazur, there's absolutely no way I would have predicted here a 4-0. And if anybody was going to 4-0, I would have said my boy Eric is going to do it. Yeah. Even though I haven't seen that much of him lately, but he also said that he's been mostly playing on the Korean server, so that would make some sense. Look forward to seeing Eric in action as well, and of course Turkey Dana. But yeah, damn, Terran, that substitute just getting it done in the way he did, that's very well.
That's not bad at all. I think it's his first participation to NationWars,
yep.
And he gets an all kill.
It's very good.
I think we're gonna have the interview, so it's preparing with Eric, the captain of Brazil. So Keller is going to is coming back, right?
Right.
From the.
I mean, unless he's like, you know what?
Yeah, I can
you know what,
Terran play. He gets the job done. So.
I mean, what happens if Kelazur starts the next nation where he loses the first game? Are we gonna have some internal struggles here with Eric and Turkey Dana being like, you know what? Maybe we need to get Terran on the team. Nah, of course Kelazur should come back. He's still their star player. He's by far the most experienced, and he's really been putting on a show in 2017. But I'm sure he's very proud. The moment he will land in Korea, he's going to open up his phone, check Wikipedia. He's like, damn, my boys.
Good job. So the next series, and this is the last series of this first round, it's going to be Germany against Spain.
Germany probably, I want to say, the strongest lineup overall. Of course, Kelazur would have been an ace, and then who else did we have? I mean, Haas is always fun to watch. Braddock's like a normal name. But, like, Germany has Showtime, Hero Marine, and then TLO. A lot of old names, but then you have Showtime performing very well at the start of 2018. Hero Marine also starting to, like, take maps and games off people you didn't think he would. And TLO being the experienced guy there and can lead them to victory.
Yeah, Spain is actually a pretty decent team as well, though. Aquarian is one of the younger players that doesn't get the same amount of love as Clem and Rainer because he's not that level, or he's not that good yet, but he's actually very good as well, still very young, up and coming, so a very fun player to watch. Sulir, also a very young Zerg, so it's actually kind of cool to see those guys in action as well. I'm a little sad that Majestic decided not to sign up, as I still think that he's the best player in Spain, and it would have been a lot of fun to see Majestic try to carry the torch with those young'uns behind him, but it's still going to be a very fun nation war.
All right, and Eric is here with us now. Hi, congratulations,
Hello.
GG, you all hit Bolivia as you predicted.
Yeah.
What did you
Darren
think of these
really
games?
well. I think he was kind of nervous because he normally plays really aggressive with his Aeons, with Aeon drops. He does a lot of harass with Liberators and just keeps attacking with mech non-stop. So I think he was kind of nervous in the games, but he tried to play a more solid style and it worked. So I'm happy.
Nice.
I was going to ask you, actually, as soon as you got in the interview, like, you know, what happened to this super aggressive guy that you were talking about? I feel like he kind of tricked us because he said super aggressive.
Yeah, I'm expecting proxies, stim timings. It's like, what is this, Eric?
No, but I mean, aggressive, like he just gets an army, even if it's like 120 supply or something like that, and just keeps attacking you, trying to hit you in as many places as he can, and try to win before you get to the hive. So I think he was kind of nervous. That's why he tried to play a more solid style, let's say.
I think he looked really good, man. I mean, in my mind, of course, Diego is still the star player, and I think you've been the second best player from Brazil for a long time, but isn't Terran kind of knocking on your front door with a performance like that?
Yeah, let's see how he does in Copa America. He hasn't qualified yet, so let's see. But he's playing really well.
Cool. I mean, it must be fun to see as well, right? To see some more players perform. Of course, it's been Diego for a long time, and you made it to a couple of the WSGs and stuff like that, but it must be cool to see some of the other guys in your nation truly stepping up.
Yeah, it's always cool to see other players to step up because it lightens up that competitive spirit, right? So you want to beat him and things like that. So it's cool, man.
Awesome. Any nations that you'd love to face in the round of 16? Like, you know, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's think of some of those European nations, right, that we talk a big game about. Is there any lineup of some of these European teams that you look at and be like, I actually think those guys are very beatable for us?
Very beatable. I think the most beatable for us is Italy, maybe.
Yeah?
I'm not sure.
Not afraid of Raynor?
Yeah, I think Italy is the most beatable.
Have you watched
Yeah,
the
but
games
CBC
yet?
is always a hard matchup to call. A lot of cheeses, a lot of blind counters, so I think it's a really beatable nation.
Okay.
Okay, so now I wish they're in the same group. I want to see Reno against Eric. And how far do you think Brazil can go in this tournament?
I think we can at least get to the semis.
Oh, top
That's
4.
good.
You want to make it to France?
Of course.
That's awesome. I have one last question, by the way, not necessarily related to StarCraft, but why did you send OGaming a picture of you that was roughly taken 9 years ago, I think?
I'm not sure. I think I used that picture in the last NationWars and I forgot to change it. So,
okay.
so that's it.
Okay.
When was that picture taken? Because you look very young on it.
It was in Copa America 2015, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
3
in
years.
the Copa America 2015.
I'm
3 years ago.
not sure if I believe it, Eric, but okay.
Okay, well, congratulations. Do you have any last questions? Or maybe you want to say last words to your fans around the world?
Yeah, I just want to thank you thank you for the support and that's it. Hope you see us in the presidential finals in the land.
Okay, congratulations for your qualifications and see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Eric is a really cool dude. I had the pleasure of
It was really nice.
hanging out with him in Sao Paulo once for an American qualifier for WSG. And he's cool, man. He's pretty active as well. He used to be very active on the NA ladder, and that's when I used to see him a lot more. But it seems like he's in really good spirits, a very competitive spirit as well. So, you know, love to see more of him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's only one spot left, and either Germany or Spain is gonna take it. So you can start voting now in the chat. So it's DEU for Deutschland, Germany, and ESP for Spain. And what are your predictions? Not the score, but like, what do you think of this game?
I mean, Germany obviously the favorite on
Yeah, yeah.
paper, but I actually think that the victories will be very hard fought because guys like Aquarium, guys like Sulir, even if you are a Showtime or a TLO or a Hero Marine, you can't just scoff at them and play a bunch of meme builds and beat them. They're actually pretty damn good European players. But of course, normally the experience and you look at the past achievements, Germany is the favorite.
Yeah, Germany's the favorite. I think that even like gets out TLO and hope that it, NationWars, like see if it's the magic touches NationWars, see if he 4-0s. Because Spain, like, yeah, they have a decent lineup, but I actually believe that, yeah, either one of the guys from Germany could get an outkill.
Okay, well, we'll find out right now after 5 minutes of break. Keep tweeting at us and support either Germany or Spain.